Hello, welcome to Help Desk with Joe. This is Joe from A&M Digital Technologies, and we come back each week with our technology section to cover different topics and items. And A&M Technologies is one of our local businesses here in Spencer. You sell stuff on the internet, you sell stuff locally, you do a lot of computer work for businesses and individuals. Cena McDonald is behind the scenes doing all the producing, and each week you're here with a new topic.
And here we are.
Here we are. So this week we're going to talk about some different stuff. Last week we talked about whether to purchase a laptop or a desktop and which was better and the options for each. This week we're saying you've made your purchase,
right,
and here's how you keep it for a long, long time. So,
right.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Desktops, general efficiency stuff. Got some props. So let's set this thing up on the table. We'll turn it around here where you can see it, and we're going to stand up.
We're going to Vanna White this episode.
We're going to talk about some stuff here. So as we talk about the computer, talk to me a little bit about what's in here, because when I say stuff, I literally mean stuff. It's parts. So you give us a little rundown on what we're looking at.
Okay. Well, the technical term is thingamabob. So.
Thingamabob. Okay. Yeah. So if you don't know, it's a thingamabob.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay. So this main part here is your motherboard. That's pretty much the brains of everything. When you turn on the computer, this is the first thing that powers up.
Okay.
So everything that your computer is connected to always runs to the motherboard.
Right. Okay, what else we got connected here?
Okay. Well, these two pieces of equipment right here are your hard drives. When you turn your computer on, any pictures you save, any music you download, pretty much anything you do with the computer runs off of this.
Gotcha. Okay, what else we got?
This up here is your CD drive or DVD drive, depending on which kind of computer you have.
And a burner and stuff like that.
Right.
Okay.
Now, this is just a case fan here that pulls out the air from the front of the computer through the back to keep it cool. And this box right here is your power supply.
Okay, and I see it's got a fan there as well.
Right.
So you got 4 fans in this unit.
Right.
Okay, that'll be important for later in our conversation.
Right.
Okay, so when we're talking about all the stuff we have here, tell me a little bit, and we talked about this earlier, we have rules of do not do's.
Right.
So what are some of the do not rules?
Okay.
And kind of why?
Okay, the first thing, you bought your computer, well, you say to yourself, well, I'm going to buy a desk to go with it. So you get this big fancy desk with the doors.
Computer desk.
Yeah, computer desk.
Okay.
With the doors and everything. So you set the tower in there and you shut the door.
Right.
Well, you've just created a furnace for it.
Oh, exactly. Yes, because we just talked about the 4 fans.
Right. So whenever you turn your computer on, if you want to set back up here.
Okay.
The fan in the front pulls your air from outside air.
Does it have a case on it?
Yeah, it has a front panel on it. So
okay.
The front fan, the air flows through the front of the computer. That's why all these vent holes here on the front. So the air moves through the front here.
Yep.
And gets pulled through inside your case. And some cases have on the side a side panel for the air to come out from your processor, but most of the air generally comes through this general direction.
It comes right out the back in these holes.
Right. So it pulls through the front, goes through here, and then this fan takes it when the air turns hot and blows it out the back.
Okay, so you're saying you put it in your drawer, you shut the door, it's got a back on it probably as well. At this point, you've created an oven or a furnace.
Right, you're just circulating hot air.
Nowhere for the hot air to go and no cool air to pull in.
Right.
Okay, so rule number 1, do not enclose your PC unit with its fans in an oven.
It's got to breathe.
Got to breathe. Okay, so breathable space. That's
right.
Good deal. So do not put it in a space that's not breathable. Okay, rule number 2.
Rule number 2, and this only applies to smokers.
Okay.
If you smoke, do not smoke around your computer. Not only are you hurting yourself from smoking, but you're also hurting your computer.
Right. We do a lot of prevention work on tobacco issues. We know there's a lot of chemicals and a lot of tar in cigarettes. So when that smoke comes in, those chemicals, what happens? They come in the front?
It comes to the front, it gums up everything.
Okay.
It blows, it comes up in your power supply, it comes up in your processor, it just gums up and mucks up everything.
So you work in people's homes on their personal computers and you work in businesses. I'm sure you've seen this. This is why you've had this rule.
I've seen plenty of systems come in that the power supply is blown because it just gummed up everything. The motherboard, the absolute worst case I've ever seen was it was supposed to be a white tower.
Yep.
It was yellow.
And so just
all this circuitry inside, you start taking parts out, it would literally crumble in your fingers, and it's not supposed to do that.
All the chemicals and smoke causes irreplaceable damage on these hard drive items.
Right. Well, and it causes damage in your body, and this is just like your body. It causes damage, and it might not be repairable.
Right. Okay. So what's rule number 3? Is there rule 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Dust.
Rule 3. Dust. Dust is a good one. Okay.
And same thing applies as the cigarette smoke. You know, it'll clog up the fans on the front. If you look on any computer at your house, you can tell where the air is circulating because there's dust.
Right. So dust bunnies are bad.
Right.
Okay, and I think you brought up an important point because you can see the vents right here. They're small.
Yes.
And you know, and the ones on the front have real little screens in them, and this one actually has some dust clogging.
You're right.
So when you look at this screen, if this is clogged, that's bad news because again, you're just creating a furnace.
Right.
Okay, so
and I have actually seen systems where the dust is so thick inside that you turn the computer on and it doesn't boot. It acts like there's something wrong. And I've literally cleaned the dust out, fires up and runs just like it always
so it
did.
shorts itself out via
Right.
the dust. Okay. All right. Now, if someone were to come and have the idea, okay, Joe, you know, I don't clean very well, or that part of my computer desk, I just neglect it. What can they do? What should they do? Should they bring it to you? Is there something they can do themselves to help alleviate some of this? Or what should happen?
The easiest way to knock the dust out is you can buy those little cans of, you know,
The aerosol spray?
Yeah, the aerosol cans of air, or you can use an air compressor. But I highly recommend getting a liquid filter on it to keep the moisture out. Plus, don't just hook up an industrial size air compressor and, you know,
Go
try
in
to
town, yeah, because an industrial air compressor and even the little ones will blow out moisture.
Right, so I'd say anything less than 75 psi because you really don't want a lot of pressure blown in here. And if you can reach the fans, don't sit there and turn the air on these fans because these are just run-off ball bearings.
Yep.
And you just let that fan run wide open. Yeah, it's fun to watch, but you're just shorting the life of that fan.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So do a little bit of general upkeep with either, preferably the canned air that you can buy at a computer store or on your website.
Right.
And general maintenance. Give it some cleaning. Give it a little love to make it last.
Right.
It's working hard for you.
But do not use a vacuum cleaner.
Okay. Well, why not?
Because your general home use vacuum cleaner, if you just take it and run across the back, it can build up static electricity. And all you need is to run your feet across the carpet and touch the motherboard, and you just lost your entire
You shorted
system.
it out. Okay, so don't use the vacuum cleaner. That'll be rule 4.
Right.
No vacuum cleaners because of static electricity.
Now, they do make special vacuum cleaners called a DataVac, which is specially designed for computers that you can actually, you know, blow out your system, or it has an intake-outtake where you can actually blow out the system, or you can use the vacuum side to suck the dust out.
I think we'll leave that to you, though. That sounds like a job someone that works on computers should do.
Right, because that, you know, not everybody needs a DataVac. Just to
so
blow
for
out
the
your computer.
most part, someone could clean their vents in the front and back. Try not to touch anything, I'm assuming, because as you said, if you run your feet across carpet and then touch your motherboard, you're going to short circuit it, the same as a vacuum cleaner.
Right.
So rule 5, keep out of this area with touching. So let Joe or someone that works on computers take care of that for you. Otherwise, do some general maintenance on the back with some soft air, and in the front with soft air.
Just for safety precaution, turn your system off and unplug it before you do anything. You're not really going to hurt anything, but just on precautionary side, be sure to turn off and unplug it.
I think it's a good point. For general safety, you'll notice this one is not plugged up, but this power supply carries enough power to electrocute you. So, you know, to stay from having a nasty incident there, unplug it, stay out of this area, rule 5. Remember rule 5, that's an important one. Stay out of this area. And just clean the general outside, the inside vents. And if you feel you need more cleaning, that's when you call Joe and Cena and say, you know what, I need more help.
And if you use the canned air, don't turn the cans upside down because that's just going to create moisture. And when you're using the can properly, it will get cold. So don't use it, you know, for extended long
time. Okay. So a lot of this seems to be geared towards improving the efficiency of your computer.
Right.
So we're talking efficiency at this point. Tell me a little bit, you know, we discussed the parts in there. With the efficiency, we're also talking temperature.
Right.
So 2 key things, and talk a little bit about how that affects your computer. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but just in case, I guess a rundown. You want air to flow to work the temperature out, which in turn, because what builds heat in here? I mean, what's causing the problems?
Well, pretty much the power supply has heat. Anything that has a fan associated to it, that's where your heat's coming from. So, and these processors create so much heat. When the computers were first being released to home users, they didn't come with a heat sink or a fan.
Right.
And then when they did, they was very small fans, and as the speed has gotten faster, the fans have gotten bigger.
This has big fans. I would say like 4-inch fans probably on the front and back. The power supply is probably a 2 or 3-inch fan.
Yeah.
So we're talking a lot of airflow.
Right.
Noisy, but that's what you want.
Right. And with these fans on just the processor alone, if I take this fan off right now and turn the computer on, the motherboard should have a safety feature, but if not, about 3 seconds.
It'll overheat and be done.
Right.
So very crucial then, from what you're telling us, to have that airflow moving from the front to the back.
Right.
So you want to make sure those vents are clean, make sure you're not restricting the air, and that in turn will keep your computer cooler,
Right.
resulting in better efficiency.
Right.
Okay, so we're covering most of the stuff there. You've got a general rundown of the parts, or as I say, the stuff.
Yeah.
and you know what they need to have to live a long, healthy life.
Right.
And then how it works, how this computer works to keep itself efficiency, and then what you can do to help it.
Right.
All right, any other tips? I know we got some other stuff here to show, but anything else with this?
I think we're good for right here.
Okay, if you have any questions on any of this stuff,
Thingamabobs.
just call Joe and or Cena, and they'll be more than happy to help you out. So let's talk about, let's go in order here.
Okay. Well, these actually kind of work together.
Yes, I agree. This one's heavy. So what do we got here? We'll make sure to lean that
Well, we're
up.
talking about keeping the insides clean, but now we're going to check from the outside invasions.
Okay.
And outside meaning the electricity.
Yep. So you plug. Most people probably plug it into their wall. They might plug it into a power strip.
Right.
To some capacity, but talk a little bit about what this is.
Okay. Well, first, the worst thing you ever want to do is plug this thing straight into the wall.
Right. So rule 6: do not directly plug into the wall.
Right. Or you will be you will be calling me.
Yep.
Because it's not if, it's when.
Just a matter of time at that point.
It just takes one electric
and we
flicker
know
to blow it up.
with the weather and everything that we have, especially in rural West Virginia, that's a big issue.
Yeah,
very important.
My most calls I got after the derecho this summer was people calling saying, hey, this blew up, this blew up, this blew up, all because of one, either they had the surge protector and it did blow it, or they had it plugged straight into the wall.
Okay, so tell me why this thing is so heavy.
Okay, this thing is so heavy is because this isn't just your standard surge protector.
Standard surge protector?
This is a battery backup.
Battery backup system.
So with a standard surge protector, that protects you from any spikes in electricity, or when you're sitting at the house, you know, every once in a while your lights dim. That's called a brownout.
Yep.
That's just as bad as a power spike.
Okay.
So what a surge protector does is protects you from those spikes and brownouts. Now, there's still a chance of, you know, your computer being damaged, but it's much rather to have that than nothing at all.
Right. Now, we use these in our office. The power cuts off in our building. This will sustain our computers for roughly a half hour.
Right.
Very important.
It all depends on the model and what you have hooked up to.
Right, how big the battery is.
Right. So what the main reason of a battery backup is if you have a desktop or even a laptop, it doesn't really matter either way, is on one side is just a surge protector like this, but this side here has a surge protector as well as the battery backup side.
Yep. Very important.
So what you use the battery backup side for is if you have a desktop, you're sitting there going away with electric goes off. Well, when the minute electric goes off, you've lost everything plus potentially done damage to the computer.
Yep.
With the battery backup, this at least gives you enough time to properly shut down your computer to save your information.
There's the key. Save your information.
Right.
We've had 3 or 4 power outages just in our office this year, and each time this little baby has given us the time to save the documents we're working on,
right.
Make any final communication, because I've sent out email to our site coordinators, for instance, we're out of power, you know, try to contact us by phone only.
Right.
And send it real quick.
Yeah, because electric never goes out when it's convenient, you know, when you're gone for a week or anything.
You're in the middle of a document and you're about to panic and have a heart attack and say, oh my goodness. So yeah, so this will save you.
Right.
And it can save your equipment.
Right. And it also, some of these, actually several of these nowadays comes with software that you load on your computer, you plug in with a USB cable, and it'll actually monitor and detect when the electric's out. It'll actually say, okay, the computer's running on the battery now. Do you want to go ahead and shut down? And it'll actually shut your computer down safely.
Nice. So to do it automatically, that's incredible. Okay, about roughly, what does one of these run?
These start out at least $60.
Okay, so they're expensive, but you think about what it does.
Right.
I would pay $60 before I lost the document that I was working on.
Well, think about it. $60 insurance policy versus not only the time, the data you lost,
but
plus
your actual
potential
equipment.
damage on the hardware.
To a $400 or $500 computer, maybe a $700 computer.
Right.
So very well worth it. Okay. And you sell these?
Yes, we sell those.
Of course. Okay. You sell everything. Joe sells everything at A&M Digital Technologies. This little handy dandy feature you introduced to me a couple of months ago. Tell me about it.
This is, you know, you've seen your standard.
Very nifty.
You've seen your standard 6 strips. Well, an issue you have is you plug something that's got the big block and chargers.
Yeah, and it's in your way.
And then it takes 2 of your outlets. Well, this is actually made by a company called Quirky. And what Quirky is it's a company that is made by consumers. Let's say you have an idea, you submit it to Quirky, and if you get enough votes, Quirky will actually work with you to get the products manufactured. So this was actually somebody's idea, and this person's actually making money off of this that Quirky backed and is actually selling.
Nice. I think Cena likes it because it makes an S.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've Cena brought this in here, plugged all our stuff up, and you're right. When you start plugging in stuff that has the larger head mounts on them, it takes up a lot of space.
Right, so you can actually adjust that to wherever you
make
want.
it to whatever
and
you need.
You can use all the plugs without having to lose a plug or two because of a big block charger.
Okay, and this is just your general power strip. It has a nice big power button.
Right.
Makes it easy to hit and tell when it's on or off.
Right.
And again, this does not do battery backup, but it will protect your system to some extent.
It's just like a seatbelt in your car.
Yep.
Plugging it in straight to the wall is driving down the road without a seatbelt.
Hanging out the window.
Right.
Yep. So we know it's going to be just a matter of time. Okay, so 3 great areas of our show today. We talked about a PC unit, still behind me here, so I can pat it a little bit. Efficiency and temperature were the main topics of how to keep your system working, and then safety. Probably the best option you have if you can afford this. This is the way to go. Battery backup, along with the power strip, and then the next option, especially if you have a lot of goody toys that you plug in, and what I really like is if you travel, this is handy. You just fold it up and go.
Right.
There for all occasions. So power strip.
Right.
Okay. So the key ingredients to having a healthy, happy computer that'll last you a long time.
Right.
All right. The third ingredient, or the fourth ingredient, I guess, to that is having a good technical guy that'll set you up with what you need part-wise. Making sure your computer has enough fans. I'm assuming that's what you were mentioning earlier.
Right.
And then making sure you have battery backup if you need it, especially small businesses.
Right.
This would save a small business.
Right.
We have one on all our computers, and like I say, when the power goes out, we all gasp because we don't want to lose our documents. We don't lose our communication quickly with our satellite centers, and this saves us.
Right. And what's funny is if you do have these, real quick when the batteries finally go dead on it because you're sitting there and your computer goes dead.
Well, and they beep.
Right.
Beep. When they get low on power, like in ours, when the power's off, like say about a half hour, you'll hear them start beeping. They give warning beeps and they're going to turn off.
Right.
So we'll set and work for another 20 minutes, and then we'll start saving everything and get ready for that. And then when they run low on the battery power, it'll start to beep.
Right.
And it takes a little while to charge back up, but hey, if we talked about like the stuff you had before, you could essentially charge this back up, come home, work again.
Right.
And
But
so
hey,
forth,
just for a black, electric flickers, this is perfect.
This has saved us many a time,
Yeah.
so I can't say enough good stuff. So if someone wants to get a hold of you, wants to start ordering some of these products, or talking about the efficiency of their computer, how do they do that?
Give us a call at our offices at 304-927-3588 or visit our website at amdigitaltechnologies.com.
Yep, and I think the best thing I've seen is be friends with you on Facebook.
Yeah, friend us on Facebook, and we just started, actually today, our weekly or daily newsletter, all of our daily specials. If you visit our store, and on the left side of the store, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a subscribe button. You put in your email address, and you'll receive our emails with our daily specials.
Nice, and I get them through Facebook and all kinds of stuff. It's led us down the road of saying, okay, here's what we need for our daycares and our after-school programs. We just talked about security cameras. You know what? That might be a good topic for next week to start talking about security cameras. They become very affordable.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are worried. If you've been robbed or you know someone that's been robbed, most people know somebody that's had some sort of incident.
Yeah.
It's fairly efficient or fairly
affordable.
cost efficient.
Right.
Yeah, to get a 2-camera system that'll back up and have the cameras.
Yeah, and it's become so much better now and so much easier. It's gotten to the point now where you can hook them up to the internet, and if somebody's messing around in your house, it takes their picture and it sends it to you, to your phone with that.
So yeah, so even if they broke into your house and tore up your stuff, you'd have them.
Right.
Because you have those photos through the internet. Okay, good stuff. We get a lot of help from A&M Digital Technologies. You went to your first basketball practice?
Oh, we had blast.
Chaos. Yeah, K through 4 basketball.
I didn't see a single kid out there not enjoying themselves.
Did you call any fouls? Foul.
No, they all had it under control, so I thought, let the professionals do their job, and I'll just stay
ref.
Yeah.
Okay, so in case this is your first show, Joe McDonald, Cena McDonald, owners of A&M Digital Technologies, a local business here in Spencer, for all your computer needs, home, business, everything, the stuff in the computer, all taken care of.
We cover it all.
And again, contact them, get on Facebook, get those daily specials. If you have any questions, you have an idea, what was the question topic that someone won free Norton?
Yeah, they won free Norton because of the antivirus.
You used their question for the topic. Okay, so if you have any questions, get on their Facebook, message them, email, phone call.
And this topic this week was actually another viewer submission.
Nice. Okay.
So people are watching.
Yep. So if you have a question or you have something you say, I'd just like to know more about it, send it in and we'll cover it in the show, and then you can get that information for free. And then if you're one of the lucky ones, a random drawing deal, you win something. Somebody won a $50 Norton antivirus last week.
And I believe the winner this week will be receiving one of these.
Oh, I'm jealous. Does their name start with an S? No?
Don't think so.
Don't think so. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, that's the news for this week. This is Help Desk with Joe. And we'll be back next week with more stuff, more topics, talking about more technology to help you out at home and in your businesses. So thanks, and everybody have a great week. Joe, Cena, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sponsored by A&M Digital Technologies.